Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm sorry I look like an absolute bum right now. I was laying in bed, and something happened to me today that I think you guys would at least get a kick out of. I know I certainly, um, it was interesting. Let me put it that way. So I was wearing my comfy. Like I said, I was just getting ready to go to bed, and I said, you know what? No, I'm going to talk about this today. So, what I am going to discuss is a company called Benchcraft. And for those of you who are unaware, it is a company that basically does all these golf course sponsorships all across the country. And I'll get into some of the facts and then some speculation later. But what it at least advertised, what it did was, like, there's local golf courses that have big title card sponsors. Each hole on the course can get a sponsor, and there's like a book to keep track of your scores and everything. And we were supposed to be sponsored in there. So when I first opened up, I opened up my shop in January of 2024, and in February, a month after being open, this company reached out to me about a sponsorship. And at the time, I said, you know what, just looking for any kind of advertising that I could. So I said, sure. Very, and hindsight's always 2020, but very pushy company, even after saying, like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And I say they're very pushy because there was a gentleman I talked to for the first for the first golf course. I said, sure, whatever. And then, like, a day or two later, I got a call from, I guess she's some kind of, higher up in the chain. And extremely pushy, but also very good salespeople. Like, oh, I'll give you a discount if you sponsor two at once. We got another, big, there's the Dover Air Force Base. It's a huge, I think one of, like, the largest in the nation, is right in my backyard. So like, oh yeah, you could sponsor the Dover Air Force Base golf course, great deal if you do two of them. So I said, sure, whatever. I've had no contact with this company since February of 2024. And then this morning, I get a phone call a year later now. Basically, it was, hey, just calling to let you know, reminder that we are going to process your payment for 2025. And that was it. And some of my frustration with the company, and if you read the reviews, I was reading a lot of reviews on it. A lot of people said they were legit and said they were great, said there was no problems. And then there's a lot of people that said, no, the product was never delivered. I almost wonder, this is speculation, but I almost wonder if most golf courses, let's say there's 18 holes, they probably don't stop at 18 sponsors. So if they call 50 people up for the same golf course, and they all pay for a hole, they probably just take their money. I mean, I don't know, again, speculation, but what I mean by that is I know someone that goes to one of the golf courses that I sponsored, and I was telling them the story today about this, and they're like, I've never seen any kind of advertising for you at this golf course. And that was some of my speculation, is they say they are going to ship something out to the golf course, but never do. So a year ago, when I sponsored this this company, one of my stipulations was, I said, hey, is there any chance we can, when this product gets delivered, I can get some kind of picture of the final product, at the golf course, some kind of proof of delivery? And they told me, sure, no problem. And I never got that. So here we are a year later, and I just have to take their word that this product was delivered. Supposedly 2 golf courses have advertisement for me, and I have no proof of that. So there's one of two things. Either it was truly just never delivered, Each golf course was like $400 sponsorships. So they took $800 of my money. They said, good luck, we're not delivering on anything. And they didn't. So I just gave them $800 and they never delivered on any kind of product. Or option two, which I think it's probably number one, but option two is, let's say they really truly did deliver this product to me. Let's say really for the last year, there's been, my banners are out there at the golf course. Not a single customer in the whole year has come in, and this is why I'm skeptical. Not a single person or anybody has come in and said, hey man, I saw your golf course sponsorships, wanted to check you guys out. I get more people that were like, hey man, I was drinking at the local tavern with my buddies and heard you guys existed. Like, there's a lot of great word of mouth, but not a single person has supposedly seen these, magical, which again I don't think were delivered, advertisements. So even if they were delivered, nobody's seen them. It has drawn me no business whatsoever. Therefore, it's completely not worth my time to renew this anyway. So my frustration was, again, there was never any kind of proof. I sponsored a local Little League softball team, and you get a whole team that's running around, and again, it's nothing huge, but you get a whole team running around with, your jerseys on. I sponsored that. You know what I got for that? I physically went to the game, the opening night where they announced us as team sponsorship and everything. But they sent me it's a physical wooden plaque with the whole team with our jerseys on it that just says, thank you for your sponsorship. So even if I never went to any of the games, one of the people from the Little League came by and dropped off a plaque that said, hey, here's your team that you sponsored, wearing your jerseys, you truly did get product worth for this. And I don't think it's absurd for me to ask that. I spent $800 on this. I don't think it's crazy to ask for a picture when the product gets delivered and it's up at the whatever hole it's supposed to be at. And one of them, she promised me it would be like hole number 1. So I feel like that would have drawn up some kind of business. But the sort of, I just love getting drawn into all this. It's never simple as a business owner. But the reason I make this video today is the salesman that I talked to this morning has got to be one of the most baffling sales calls I have ever heard in my life. So I call him back and I say, look, man, I know it's probably not you, but I never got any kind of, again, that's my big frustration. You took $800 of my money and you couldn't even send me like a picture that, even at the bare minimum, that my ad made it in the little pamphlet. Like, I got nothing for $800. That is insane to me. Just nothing. So I said, look, respectfully, I don't want to do business with you guys anymore. I've just, again, even if the product was delivered, it has drawn me no business. So I don't want to do business with you. And, at first he's like, oh, well, we can send pictures of, your ad in the pamphlet, and we can do that. I said, respectfully, that's great and dandy. I asked for it a year ago now, that, for some kind of proof. It's kind of half-hearted that here at the last minute, I'm saying I don't want to, do business with you, that now you're going to show me. But again, it's going to be in some kind of pamphlet, so even then, I can't guarantee that that's what made it out to the, the golf courses. But I was like, disrespectfully, no, I'm not doing business with you. And he said, the most scummiest thing I've ever heard a salesperson say in my life. this is what just has me so baffled over the whole situation is I was like, look, again, I'm not going to do business with you. I'm not going to renew any kind of contract. We're done here. And he said, well, you don't really get a say in that. And I said, excuse me? He's like, you signed a 2-year contract. You don't get a say in whether or not you get to leave now or not. And I think that is one of the just most vile sales tactics I've ever heard. And the sad thing is, it probably works for people. I'm saying I don't want to do business with you, and you have the audacity to say, you don't get a choice. You're doing business with us. Excuse me? So I looked, and again, he piqued my curiosity. I was like, maybe did I sign a 2-year contract? I did not. I looked, and it literally says on there verbatim 12-month contract from February of 24 to February of 25. It says 12-month duration. I paid $395, $400 for 12 months, and now February 25. The contract is up, and he just would not take no for an answer. I was like, I'm looking at the contracts. I said, if you can pull up a 2-year contract, be my guest. But both the contracts I'm looking at were for 2024. It was a 12-month contract. I can't find anything about 2 years because there is nothing about 2 years. And I'm not a morning person. So when you hit me with some bull like that right first thing in the morning, I'm just not usually a happy camper. If you're gonna hit me with some kind of bull crap, just do it after lunch when I've kind of woken up a little bit. But basically, he sits there and tries to gaslight me that, yeah, there's no, you have no say in this. You're signing a 2-year contract, or you did sign a 2-year contract. You don't get to say, we're taking your money. And the funny part, again, about all of this is that I just, at this point, like, I've told the dude, like, several times, I'm not doing business with you. I have no desire to do business with you. We're done here. This is just a waste of my money. Even if you are delivering the product, which I don't think you are, but, so then he goes, okay, well, you signed a 2-year contract. This is your address, right? I said, yeah, that's my address. He's like, this is the card number on file. I said, yes. And if you charge it, I'm going to dispute it. He's like, oh, okay, well, he sent me a text message on my personal phone number because he had that from last year. That, again, super scummy. So he quickly drafted up a new invoice for 2025 that on this new invoice, and I'm happy to show these invoices if anyone wants to see them, that says, duration 12 months on it. So what he was trying to get me to do is, and then he needed me to send a response that said, okay, to proceed with the charge. So he wanted me to, he gaslighted me into thinking that I've signed 2 years. So what he did was he drafted up a 2nd-year contract right there on the spot and then wanted me to approve the charge for the new contract. I've never agreed to the second contract. This is the first, this is totally new. I've never agreed to the second contract, and he's trying to get me to believe that last year when I signed the first contract, I also signed the second one, so I don't really have a say in it, is what he wanted me to believe. And no, he was just trying to get me right then and there to agree to a second contract. And I was just like, dude, I'm just so done. I was just like, dude, I got a couple customers here. I'll get back with you. Just scummy, like, used car salesman type of dude. He's like, it's just a text message. It takes 1 minute. It takes a second to reply. So I had to hang up on him. And at that point, I was open for business, so I have customers in my shop. So again, I'm gonna obviously prioritize the customers over your bullcrap. So I'm helping them out. He calls my personal number, and then he calls my store number. Again, he has both of them because from last year. So I had to block his number. Well, then I'm assuming it was the head chick in charge. They called me from a second number. I had to block that number, and they must have called, good Lord. So even if I block a number on my business phone, what'll happen is it won't ring to my personal phone, but it'll still ring the shop phone. So I can always say, okay, if the shop phone's ringing, but my personal phone isn't, I've blocked it on my phone. And I kid you not, man, they must have called 10 times back to back. I did not hit reject or anything, so it rang for the full 30 seconds, minute, whatever it is. And I kid you not, probably 10 times. Back to back to back they called. And then about an hour later, he did another volley of about 5 phone calls. And then it stopped. And then he tried a third phone. This is some of the craziest. Like, most people, if they call and they're like, hey, would you mind switching to a new credit card processor or something? I'd just be like, no, I'm happy with my current one. They're like, all right, cool. This dude called from a third phone number about 4 hours after the original confrontation happened. And at that point, he was like, hey, this is so-and-so from Benchcraft. Was wondering if you could get that approval back to me. If you could just send okay real quick on the approval. And I just hung up on him again. I'm like, what part of... I don't know how many times... You could probably have a drinking game off of how many times I said, I don't want to do business with your company ever again. But... just... And I haven't heard anything back. Maybe I'll hear more tomorrow or whatever, but... I just think that is some of the most deplorable stuff that you could do. I'm just appalled by that. I said, I'm good, I don't want to do business with you. Well, you don't get a say in that. You signed a 2-year contract, which I didn't. And just some of the most aggressive and just vile sales tactics I think I've ever, unfortunately, been on the other end of. I'm half tempted to go out and buy a brand new car because I know the salesman won't treat me like that. Like even then, just there's probably poor people that, again, that's worked on. You sit there and you go, you signed a 2-year, and then they might say, oh shoot, okay, well I guess we're blocked in for 2 years. But the fact that he told me I had no say in it, drafted a new invoice, and then wanted me to approve the charge. If I truly did sign a 2-year contract with you guys, you wouldn't need my approval for a second charge. You'd have it already because I signed a contract. You could just charge my card. So it's just some of the just craziest stuff. I don't know if he... The problem is it's now Friday, so I don't see any charges anyway until Monday because all the weekend charges. So if he does attempt to charge my card, I'm going to absolutely fight those charges and be done with it. But it's absolutely absurd. I'm just at such a loss for words. Just, that is some of the most aggressive sales like I've ever been on the receiving end of. You don't get a say in that. I'm saying, no, I don't want this product. And you have the gall to sit there and say, you don't get a say in it. Excuse me? But, yeah, just crazy stuff. But I guess I'll leave the video there. That's probably enough ranting and raving. I know you guys usually like me hearing about ranting and about crazy customers, but this time it's a crazy company. So I still don't know if they're legit or not. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But again, some of the worst salespeople I've ever dealt with. They literally just can't take no for an answer. I see why just... I don't know, man. That's just... I'm just sitting here at an absolute loss for words. I just felt like I had to sit down and, again, share with you guys. But I guess that'll be it for today's video. I'll keep you guys updated if more comes from this, but I'm hoping... I'm praying that they're done with this, but probably not. But I guess I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.